Can you
really
please tell my boyfriend that?
Yes, I will.
He's like, what's wrong with your feet?
Allie's boyfriend. She has great feet.
Great feet.
Great feet. And I see feet all the time.
Thank you.
My whole life is feet.
Hey, it's Josephine from the Pointe Shop, and today I'm in Costa Mesa, California, in Orange County, and I'm hanging out with a really good friend of mine, Allie, who is part of DanseMedica and our preferred strength coach for the Pointe Shop. I say strength coach, but she's just basically magic. She has a dance background. She specializes in post-recovery injuries, whether it's flexibility, whether it's strengthening, whether it's alignment. If you just overall want to become a better dancer, Allie's your gal. Check out her YouTube videos, her Instagram. She's super fun. We're around the same age, and we also stopped Pointe around the same time. We both had kind of a scary relationship with Pointe shoes, so it's always fun to talk about. And we both kind of grew up to become the people that we needed when we were kids.
How was your relationship with Pointe shoes?
It was not good.
Yeah. Are we not friends right now?
We're gonna put them on and I'm gonna be like, okay. One of the big things that I'm working on is, for my dancers, is figuring out how I can help them feel the floor more in their standing foot. We put them in the shoes and they're
wobbly.
Yeah, and they're like, I can't feel the floor. I can't feel my turnout muscles. I can't. So that's actually been my endeavor. It's I've been working to love the shoes a little bit more because I'm trying to help them figure out how to do this better.
I know you talk a lot about like the tripod of your foot.
Yeah. When I'm looking at the standing foot to give the best relationship of the foot, the ankle, and the knee, I'm looking at 3 points. So I'm thinking of the bottom big toe joint, the pinky ball of the foot, and the heel. So when these 3 points are perfectly aligned with equal weight, then the ankle's just right in the perfect place. This works in parallel, it works in turnout. And what I find is that most dancers roll in, we get told to pick up the arch, and then we pick up the arch, but we haven't really changed the ankle. So then we get this, the toes stop working, then we get Achilles issues, knees issues, that kind of stuff.
You know, I love that because dancers don't even know what they're looking for inside the shoe, especially if they're in a Pointe shoe.
I'm excited.
Yeah, and you haven't been on Pointe in 10 years, and all of these are
Oh
new.
my gosh, yes, it has been so long.
Yeah. Are you nervous?
I'm nervous I'm gonna get up and be like, what?
No, I have a feeling that
Which
you're
is
going to be
very
just
possible.
fine.
We fitted her in Pointe shoes, and I felt a little bit of hesitation at the very beginning, as I would too, because you haven't been on Pointe for a long time. She's quite wide right across the metatarsal, and I imagine that 10 years ago when she was still on Pointe, there wasn't a lot of options for her because she was so wide. I picked 3 pairs of Pointe shoes that are very similar to her foot shape, but only one of them worked, so it was really cool for us to watch.
I'm more interested in how you will feel when you're standing flat.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I feel
You
like
feel it,
I
right?
can very easily get
Roll back.
into any ankle instability or weakness.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So would this be for someone who's maybe a little more advanced, or would you put this on a beginner?
Only if they need it. And here's another thing. Can you step up onto Pointe? That's really pretty. See how hard this is?
Yeah.
Okay, so some dancers, this gives them more structure when they're standing on Pointe.
Okay, I can feel that.
And I wouldn't go usually this hard when it comes to dancers that need a little bit more movement.
Yeah.
See how it's like really difficult to kind of control the shoe.
Yeah, it's hard to roll through.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not sewn or anything, but.
Yeah, so the shoe will like control you rather than the other direction. You know how this feels now.
Yeah.
And then I want you to try this. That didn't even exist when you were dancing. See how much flatter this is?
Yes.
Can you feel that difference?
Yes, I feel like I can almost find my tripod.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. And I feel getting on Pointe.
Yeah.
Like you said, this is a totally different fun Pointe experience.
Did you ever hurt your left ankle?
No, I'm trying to think. I think I want to say I broke a sesamoid bone in my foot.
You broke a sesamoid bone?
Yeah, I did Irish dancing for a while. I came down real hard.
Yes.
And I just thought I bruised my foot, and it just never went away. And finally, when I went to get checked out, they did an x-ray and they were like, oh, it's broken.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, so
I saw something.
yeah, because that definitely affected how like Pointe went after that. I was like almost out of high school, so I was just heading into pre-professional, and Pointe after that was so hard.
Oh my gosh,
Like,
I bet.
It just sucked, but I pushed through it.
Right. But once you do something chronic like that, I see it for years.
I believe you.
Forever. Like
Yeah.
almost like, yeah, I broke that when I was 7. And it's like on point, you can still tell. And like it doesn't hurt anymore, but it's still there. And I don't know how your body just remembers that.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, it's gonna hurt. So like doesn't want to put weight on it.
Yeah.
Like your body does like weird things to compensate, you know?
Yeah.
And then this is similar too, where it's a little bit flatter. The Shank is layers of material, so it lifts you up regardless. Like even the flattest will lift you up.
Right.
A lot of dancers will shave the bottom. They will shave this down. So when they're doing a dodge, they're not rolling around everywhere. So let's try this one. First position. I actually like this shape a lot on you.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The shape looks the prettiest.
Yeah.
Step up onto point. This one's it. This is it. You're the most well aligned in this shoe.
Yeah. I can feel that it feels very supportive on my foot. I do feel like I could figure out how to stand on one foot in this.
So this is actually the Goldilocks shoe. This was like the hardest, more structured one. This is a little bit too soft, and then that one was like just right. It was like the Goldilocks shoe.
When I was talking to Allie about getting fitted for Pointe shoes, what I was more interested about hearing was how she felt on flat rather than how she felt on point. Because when she's on flat, she talked about the tripod of your foot, the big toe joint, the little toe joint, and the heel, and having all 3 of those contact points flat on the floor. So when she was explaining that to me, I was thinking, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. With point work, a lot of dancers have instability when they're just standing on point, because a lot of point shoes have different types of thickness and different shapes underneath the shank. So there's the inner sole, and then there's the outer sole. The inner sole touches your foot, the outer sole touches the floor. When you're on the floor, the outer sole, sometimes it kind of bulges out at the bottom and there's like a rounded shank. And sometimes you might feel like you're not able to stand on flat because the outer sole is rounded. But there are more point shoes now that are coming out that are flat. So I wanted her to try both of them to show her how it felt. So the first pair of point shoes that I pulled out for her had a rounded bottom. And when she stood, she felt unstable when she was standing on flat. So she didn't feel like she was really having control over her feet. In terms of how she looked on point, the first pair was just not a good shoe for her. I can start to see her bunions sit on top of the wings, both her Taylor's bunion and her big toe bunion. That's not good. The box of the shoe was a little bit too low. It was slightly too tapered for her, and the shank was just a little bit too hard. So it was actually making her sickle. Even though Allie's really well aligned and she's very well aware of her body, the shoe was just making her do all kinds of weird things. So that was like the perfect example of a dancer who's doing things correctly, but the shoe's actually making her do bad things. The second pair was a lot flatter, but still every shank has a little bit of a lift off the floor, so she can still feel that it's not as flat as when she's barefoot, obviously, but she felt more grounded in that one. It was the softest shoe of the 3, and I felt that she had a little bit more control, both when she was on flat and when she was on point, but still didn't love it. It still felt like it was pulling her back towards the pinky. So the shank strength didn't really make a big of a difference. And the third pair that she tried on, I immediately knew. She put it on her foot, she went up on point, and I was like, this is it. The shape was perfect. It had a little bit more thickness, but it was still flatter than the first pair. So that was kind of the one in between. Her bunions looked really good in the shoe. The shoe was actually pretty strong, but she's able to align herself the easiest in this one. There was no sickling. It was absolutely straight. So the other 2, even though they were vastly different, they were both doing the same thing where it was pulling her back towards her pinky. And her ankles were not sickling. It was the shoe that was pulling her that way. She probably had a lot of problems with twisting point shoes and a lot of problems with her bunions hurting. So this very particular type of foot shape that really didn't have a lot of options back in point shoe days 10 years ago. So if you didn't have a very good relationship with point shoes, it probably was that maybe there wasn't a shape for you. We hardcore nerded out about all things ballet. I love Allie. She is my ballet soulmate. If you guys are interested in the dance exercise portion of this, check out our new video on DanceMedica. We're going to have a video with Allie. She's going to be showing me how to become more flexible, which is really scary because I haven't stretched in like literally a decade. I'll see you guys later.